Welcome back everyone, Phoenix here, and we're back with another edition of Shining Indies. Today we've got a sci-fi, stick shooter, hero shooter, roguelike called Mega City Police, developed by solo dev under the name Undreamed Games and published by Ravage Games. The Steam page describes it as a retro wave skill-based action roguelite about tough cops fighting crime and keeping the peace the old-fashioned way. Choose your cop and dive into hardcore action against enemies and bosses using a huge arsenal and special abilities that will define your playstyle. The game has 5 stages, 3 difficulties, 8 different heroes, 3 of which to start and 5 to unlock. As you've seen, I've actually got 7 of the 8 available currently. There are different skins to unlock for each of the cops, a great soundtrack, and has probably close to, if not more than, over 100 different weapons. The game also has 2 different modes that are independent from the actual difficulty of the game, which can make things easier or more challenging. Classic or casual. Casual has the game being a little bit easier, with pickups not disappearing, enemies do less damage, and you can find more health pickups on the ground. While classic, you will always start from the very beginning of the game when you die. Enemies hit harder, all pickups will end up disappearing after some time being on the ground. The game can be played with mouse and keyboard as well as controller. I found advantages to both, but for me personally, I actually like a controller better. You aim with either your mouse or right stick and shoot with either left click or right trigger respectively. Each character has an offensive and defensive skill, 1 to 2 perks to start off with, and a starting weapon with additional starters to be unlocked by beating the game with that particular character. Each of the 5 stages has 3 different parts to them, and they're all procedurally generated, so no run is ever going to feel the same. You'll pick up money that'll be used later at the end of the stage. There's 5 different types of ammo pickups, as well as health pickups. At the end of each stage, you're given some options to spend your hard-earned cash on perks or upgrades to your operator or weapons. You can pick up a random weapon and ammo, and choose contracts to help you earn additional cash to spend through subsequent levels to help you push towards the end of the game. Some may say this game might be a little bit too short, but from my understanding, this is how roguelites or roguelikes work. I don't actually have much experience in the genre, admittedly, currently, and even close to about 15 hours within the game. I think I'm around 13 or so. I still haven't even beaten the game on normal difficulty. With all that, you've got the 8 characters to beat, 2 other difficulties to unlock, so you actually got a pretty good amount of time. You can get a lot of good time into this game, pretty much. Getting a little more detailed, starting off, we've got some simplistic yet detailed pixel art. I don't know if those two actually cancel each other out. In terms of the visuals here. The stages feel different. There's breakable boxes, cars to blow up, debris is everywhere. Some stages have graffiti, while others have machines that you can blow up and spit out what looks like it could be candy. The game also has different enemy archetypes and variants of each of them. They will have different death animations and effects depending on which weapon you happen to use to kill them. I personally like using explosives. It's just fun to watch little bits of pixels popping out everywhere. One thing I want to highlight, which a lot of games sometimes miss or take the easy way out, are spent shell casings. Any weapon that expends shell casings drop on the floor, and they actually stay on the floor. Rifles spit them out constantly. Shotguns drop the larger red shells, and even revolvers will spit out a group of about 6, well, depending on the gun, 6 after 6 shots. I like this little added touch when a lot of games, they just have them fly off screen and that's all you'll see, or they'll drop to the ground and after a few seconds they're going to disappear. And the same goes for the enemies. They actually stay on the ground after you defeat them as well, unless you disintegrate them. I know this mostly has to do with optimization and performance for larger AAA titles and such. And this game that doesn't really have that any kind of workload that a AAA title would have. So I do appreciate the effects and the effort from the dev here. Actually going that far. Sound effects are pretty good here, though some of the weapons pop more than others. And speaking on the weapons, I did mention there's close to, if not over 100 different weapons, and they level with different rarities and statistics from the typical, common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary terms. The rarity is represented with a letter and color in parentheses by the weapon name in the HUD, as well as the highlight color when you're walking up to new weapons that happen to be on the ground. A lot of the weapons do feel very similar, unfortunately, yet it's to be expected, as I don't think you can cram 100 purely unique weapons into any game without a vast level of customization to the likes of a game like Borderlands, for example. There are a lot of different variants of particular weapons. Some laser weapons will just fire faster, they'll hit harder, or some of the nuclear weapons, the beam is going to be a little bit thicker and not jump around as much. You can be a little bit more accurate with it, and of course it's going to do more damage. Certain rifles, machine guns, and pistols are going to be more accurate with the reticle on screen not blooming as much with sustained fire. Launchers have different effects, with rockets being either faster, creating larger blasts, or even having some homing capabilities. There's melee weapons as well, but I'm not really a big fan of these. There are also some pop culture weapons that pop up here, and they're obviously called something different as to not break copyright laws, of course. There's a laser sword, and the hilt, the icon, clearly looks like a Star Wars lightsaber. We have Robocop's machine pistol in here, and there's even a gun that looks and acts like the noisy cricket from the Men in Black movie. The icon shakes on screen on the user interface, and it even knocks the player back when a shot is fired. There's more than that I've seen, and also more that I have yet to be that I have personally yet to have seen. The music will really come down to personal preference, as this game is comprised of synthwave. I'm actually a fan of the genre, and I really like what I hear. The original soundtrack does the job, but there's a ton of different tracks from other artists out there that are really well done and are a great listen to in and out of the game. Some are very chill and relaxing, while there's others that will be a little bit more upbeat. I unfortunately can't play any samples here, as all the material is copywritten. The game does have a streamer mode, so it will automatically exclude these tracks if you would like to stream and avoid a copyright strike. I've only noticed 2 small issues with the game, and they're absolutely minor inconveniences. When using a controller, the mouse does not automatically disable until being moved again. Sometimes this, can be a bit of a pain when you're at the end of the level, when you're trying to select buying upgrades and contracts. The mouse may, depending where you leave it, will highlight whatever it's hovering over, and it makes the selection, again, a small pain. It could just, obviously move it out of the way, but it would be nice if it would disable itself when the controller is used, or if I go and move the mouse again, it would re-enable. The other thing with the menu options, you can never actually back out to the previous menu. It actually closes the menu entirely. So if there's multiple things that you want to mess around with, you want to change, you're going to have to open and close the menu each time you want to make one change. Again, small nuisance, not a big of a deal here. Maybe someday it'll end up getting fixed. The last thing I want to leave you is with a small little bit of advice that was something that was shared with me when playing the game. At the start of each level, there's going to be some boxes around that opening area. Break those open. You may be able to find an additional weapon to help you push through, especially when it comes to the first stage and you're stuck with just your starter weapon. Don't go crazy, however, breaking every box in the level, as there's, even a less chance to find something random in some of these boxes. I feel like there's more of a chance in the starting area. So don't go crazy unless you really want to, or, you feel the need, the OCD need to have to do that. Don't mix this up, though, however, with the ammo and health pickups. You will find some in crates, and you'll actually know what they are because the container at the top of them is actually going to be exposed. I needed to make sure I wanted to add this in postscript here. I did forget that there is also free expansions coming with this game at some particular time. Not exactly sure. It's on the Steam page showing that there's going to be new secret levels and new agents, as well as a couch co-op mode, which would be really fun to, sit and play with, somebody else. Looks like there's going to be a prison stage and an outlaw, factory, and a robot, tunnels, and a janitor. That's got to be interesting. And then a secret level plus agent. Haha, secret agent there. But yeah, so it's great that this game is still going to be supported beyond its launch. That's really good to hear. So that'll do it for Mega City Police and this edition of Shining Indies. Comment, like, and subscribe for more indie game recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.